participated in all 3 steps where we used an established method. First, an online survey asked, what questions about retinoblastoma would you like to see answered by research? 175 questions were suggested by patients, clinicians, and researchers. Next, as a member of the steering committee, we reviewed and refined the survey responses to reach 30 questions. And next, at an in-person workshop, we used that list of 30 questions and we ranked them to come up with the top 10 research priorities in Canada. So here's the list. I'm not going to go through this, the whole list with you, but would like to point out is that all the questions have a category associated with them. The number 1 priority is under the category of diagnosis. And I also wanted to point out that second cancer shows up twice on the list, and so does psychosocial. And this has been published on a paper which you can read the lay summaries on our website. It's, again, rbcanadaresearch.com. It's under the One Retinoblastoma World tab. And you can also find more information about the priorities on the website as well. So the impact of the top 10 priorities, this is the first time priorities have been jointly decided for retinoblastoma. Next steps, share the list with researchers, funders, and patients, and get them solved. So how do we make sure clinicians and researchers are working to solve the top 10 priorities? At this point, I had joined the research team as a parent in research, and I helped develop a plan and guided the creation of educational materials. So we took the top 10 priorities, and at a workshop, which was attended by clinicians, researchers, patients, and health professionals, we created materials that aimed to raise awareness and inspire action among 3 different groups, which were researchers, funders, and patients. So here's how we spread the message. There was presentations at international conferences, there was videos and social media posts created, and an infographic that depicted the top 10 in a visual manner. And this infographic was used in an educational pamphlet. So the impact of disseminating these top 10 priorities, we raised awareness and generated interest in solving them. And next steps, set up working groups to address some of the top 10 priorities. One of the working groups that is working to solve them is working on priority number 9. So priority number 9 states how to provide a detailed pathway of care or plan outlining treatment and follow-up to retinoblastoma patients and families. The purpose was to adapt the Get Well Maps tool, which is pictured here on the screen, with patient families and clinicians to reflect the retinoblastoma experience and serve as a pathway of care for families undergoing treatment. Now, this Get Well Maps is an established tool from the Get Well Maps Foundation, which is used to graphically represent a patient's individual treatment journey with specific stickers to document the milestones and goals. Now, our CRAB member and child life specialist, Morgan, introduced us to the Get Well Maps tool and helped adapt it to reflect the retinoblastoma experience. And in order to do this, we used a human-centered design in the following manner. First, the ideation, where working group members outlined their journey and developed a list of potential sticker ideas. And this is an example of how a family outlined their journey. Next, in rapid prototyping, at an in-person workshop, participants decided on stickers to be developed and were sketched in real time by an illustrator, as you can see in the photo. And finally, refinement, working group members provided feedback on the design until the final images were produced. So here's just a sample of some of the stickers that were produced. Sticker themes included clinical treatment, which matched the electronic medical record known as a Depict Health. We had this, that would be the one that looks like the EUA, has EUA on it. We had medical education stickers, which with this genetic testing sticker, and we had special milestone stickers, which these are just some of the samples of them. So here you can see what a sample map would look like with the stickers on it. This is called the Retinoblastoma Journey Map. So not all the stickers are included, but you can see how it could be used. So the potential impact of the Retinoblastoma Journey Map could include communication tool for family and friends, communication tool to discuss treatment and care with retinoblastoma care team for legacy building, and to reduce stress and confusion. So next steps, the Retinoblastoma Journey Map is currently being evaluated at SickKids to determine impact on communication, knowledge, distress with 15 newly diagnosed families. So I would like to invite you to get involved. I have a screenshot here of our website. We can sign up to the RB registry. I have highlighted, oops, sorry, that has shifted. But I've highlighted the page, and on the tab in the top, there's the Join the RB Registry button where you can click. And there's also a list of our social media where you can follow us and stay up to date. I've also included my email if you would like to connect later on, and that's ivana.ristevsky@sickkids.ca. And now I'd like to pass it on to Genevieve, who would like to share her story.
Sorry, gang. Of course. I wouldn't want to share. Okay. All right, now I'm good. Okay. Oh, just kidding. Went right to the end. Okay, let me try one more time. Sorry, guys. Of course. Yeah, I want to be here. Okay, success. Sorry about that. Thank you, Ivana, for that excellent presentation. My name is Genevieve Savoy, previously McCarthy, and I became the president of the Canadian Retinoblastoma Society in January of 2020. As I was an infant being held by my mother, she noticed my left eye drift, wander, and seemed unfocused. When she requested information from our family doctor, she was told, baby's eyes wander, we'll check again when she's 2. Your dad had strabismus, maybe it's the same issue. In this picture, they were trying to pose me to catch the white reflex they thought they had seen. There are little to no photos of my glow because they thought those were bad takes and often threw them away. My mom persisted to find another option as her gut told her something was not right. She waited months to have me seen by my dad's eye specialist, who immediately sent us to Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto, where my eye was removed a few days later. I am a unilateral survivor of retinoblastoma. My left eye was enucleated without other treatment due to the size of the tumor and threat of metastasis. For years, my younger brother and I underwent regular EUAs, CAT scans, spinal taps, examinations, and more as we had to monitor for further tumor development. My parents sought support for themselves and for me. However, came to many closed doors as I didn't meet the criteria or the population needs. While in hospital waiting rooms, they looked for other children with similar looking challenges and approached their families to talk and exchange phone numbers. My mom initiated the formation of the Retinoblastoma Family Association out of our home in Richmond Hill, Ontario. We received calls from Dr. Galley and when she had met a family who requested support. We traveled into the hospital to meet with them, and these memories are some of the most rewarding of my life, offering hope during a very terrifying time in someone else's life. Over the years, the association held meetings, distributed a letter, supported research initiatives, fundraisers, and events related to retinoblastoma, and we as a family also became involved with the Terry Fox Foundation as they supported retinoblastoma research endeavors. I became a Terry's team member, whereas I traveled around Ontario to speak in front of assemblies of students about being a cancer survivor and telling Terry's story. Through these opportunities, I gained more confidence sharing my story and grew to understand the joy in helping others. Many times it was the simple things which were most impactful to families who I had met over the years. They often wanted to know that I went to typical school, had average experiences like friendships, learning to drive, boyfriends, and such. I played high-level sports, obtained an honors degree, got married, and had two beautiful children, unaffected children of my own, whom are likely watching now. I was drawn to pursue a degree in recreation and leisure studies at Brock University, as I wanted to support others who felt marginalized by empowering them through their sport and leisure choices. In my youth, having sport gave me a positive identity, ability to feel accepted, friendships, teamwork, leadership skills, and so much more. It is important to me to help others obtain the same benefits, regardless of their limitations or impairments. I worked for many years providing community-based rehabilitation support to those who were in a motor vehicle accident or had sustained a brain injury. Extremely rewarding for me when I was able to offer a level of empathy where my clients knew I could relate to some of their needs because of my own. The Retinoblastoma Family Association changed leadership hands as I grew up and our family's needs changed. Over time, the association changed names to the Canadian Retinoblastoma Society. It developed and adapted as volunteers came and went on in their lives. Much work into becoming a registered nonprofit charity in 2003. As a charity, the society is required to facilitate a board of directors and a membership of the retinoblastoma community. Over 35 years of empowering retinoblastoma families, leadership has changed hands, however, the vision has not. Examples of correspondence from over the years, examples of the distributed newsletter on the right side, a fundraising poster and a letter for advocacy in the middle, and an example of an awareness campaign and our brochure on the left. The ongoing primary goals of CRBS are advocacy, awareness, support, and connection. We look to educate and support families to access the highest level of care to ensure that standard of care is available to all Canadians affected by retinoblastoma. Endorsing the patient engagement strategy led by CRAB as it strives to create meaningful, co-directed retinoblastoma research. We provided seed funding and supported the development of the National Retinoblastoma Strategy, Canadian Guidelines for Care. These guidelines were published in 2009 and are currently being revised. Canadian Retinoblastoma Society is committed to increasing awareness of retinoblastoma and the long-term health implications among families, the medical profession, and the general population. Early detection is key to saving vision and lives. Only through increased awareness can this be possible. CRBS also promotes RB-related initiatives such as We See Hope, I Hope Canada, Childhood Eye Cancer Trust, and more worldwide to recognize survivorship, champions, hardship, and reduce stigmas. It is important for us in planning and organizing of conferences and gatherings to promote a consistent connection between the three Ps, the parents, the professionals, and the patients. We offer empowerment to survivors and families through video chats, social media presence, sharing stories, and aim to provide a space where people feel safe and heard. Lastly, in the umbrella for facilitating many of these goals, we provide a family support network comprised of screened survivors and parents affected by retinoblastoma who are willing to share their knowledge and experiences with other families. Ultimate goal of being able to foster a connection with individuals who have had similar experiences, increase sharing of knowledge and understanding, as well as bringing professionals together to collaborate on successes across Canada. Some of the photos from some of our fun events we've hosted, including family days and fundraisers. The future of CRBS is to empower leadership within the society, work within subcommittees to plan and execute goals, having our previous board members moving on to membership roles to provide mentorship and constructive feedback. Focus is on supporting Canadian retinoblastoma families through relevant content on our website and social media, as well as connecting over phone and email. We will continue to provide a platform for retinoblastoma community to connect through fundraisers, conferences, symposiums, and virtual gatherings. We also plan to initiate more fundraising opportunities through grant applications and partnerships. Highlighting the successes through history would take a very long time. So I'll name a few. Gala fundraisers, grant funding toward research initiatives, summer picnics, family days, holiday celebrations, a telephone tree, national RB strategy for care, and fighting for government health insurance funding for genetic testing. You'll see here one of our wins. Please turn up your volume.
When she was just 8 months old, Genevieve McCarthy lost an eye to cancer, a cancer called retinoblastoma.
Okay, now I'm going to turn the light off. Don't be scared.
Because it's an inherited disease, her 6-year-old brother Gregory is also being carefully watched for signs of eye cancer, with tests that often require minor surgery.
For the first 2 years, he went under anesthetic every 3 months to be checked. Then the next year it was every 4 months, then every 6 months, and he's just graduated to once a year now.
These tests are expensive.
That's roughly $50,000 per family is spent today to pick up children with retinoblastoma early when the tumors are easily treatable.
But all of this may now become unnecessary for 95% of children with a family history of this disease, because there's a new way to detect the source of the problem.
It's the most significant thing I've ever seen in medicine in my entire life.
Dr. John Stevens is talking about something called sequence-based diagnostics. Think of it as high-speed genetic testing. The problem with retinoblastoma is that the genetic defect is specific to each family. Until this technology, it was virtually impossible for researchers to manually isolate that mutation and to find those who carried it. Using blood or tissue from an infant, this machine uses a laser to read the entire gene in a matter of hours, and it can pinpoint the problem wherever it is and in any variation.
And we'll be able to just test every family that wants to be tested, and we'll save lots of money.
Once it's been tried on patients with retinoblastoma, this new high-speed genetics test may be used with other inherited conditions, like some forms of colon and breast cancer, and perhaps even some types of heart disease.
Okay. So why have I returned to be the president of CRBS? My involvement with the society has changed throughout my life, but I've always felt a special connection with retinoblastoma survivors through shared experiences and stories. I can't put my finger on what the feeling is, but I feel a sense of normalcy and acceptance, which impacts my confidence and mood. I feel whole when I'm around other retinoblastoma survivors, and most of whom I've met have never met another survivor themselves. I feel it's important to mentor others through leadership so they know they are not alone. Selfishly fulfilled to give back to a community which has ultimately given me so much in return. Thank you so much for your attention. Please find us on Facebook and on Instagram to keep in touch.
Genevieve, thank you so much for that really amazing presentation. So we're starting our first session in a moment, but before we get started, I just want to remind you of a couple of things. One, we are sharing posts on social media right now, and you can follow them by typing hashtag #OneRetinoblastoma2020. That is one spelled out, ONE. And you can also follow us on hashtag #OneRBWorld2020. And again, one is spelled out, ONE. Now, towards the end of the sessions, there will be a chance for questions and answers. You may submit questions via the Q&A portal or the raise hand function to ask a question over audio. Now, due to time constraints, we may only get to a portion of questions, and if there's anything which needs to get addressed, please save it for one of the networking sessions. Now, welcome to our first session, Psychosocial Impacts on Retinoblastoma Survivors and Families, by Elva, Child and Family Specialist from the USA, and Monica, parent of retinoblastoma survivor from Germany.